listeners. This week's episode of Unexplained Legends. I'm Marjorie Sullivan, and with me, as always, is
Denis Pet Peeved Len.
And together we are the Unexplained Legends. Dennis, go on.
I've got a couple of pet peeves for you, Raj.
Nice.
One of my pet peeves is when the co-host says that I'm going to have an alternate universe that I might be living in and my life might turn out, and it's going to be horrific. And he sees that world for me, and he says that just before we come into the podcast. And not only that, he says, "Don't you agree?" No, I don't agree that I would turn out like that. Horrific.
I didn't really mean it.
You did. I have two more pet peeves, right?
Go on.
Two more pet peeves, right? See if there's any person working on a 5-minute set out there for comedy, right? This is gold.
Yeah.
Right? But these are genuine pet peeves. One, when you make someone dinner, right? Mm-hmm. And you put the dinner on the table or like next to the television or wherever you eat it, and then they go away and they go for a piss or something.
Really?
Drives me up the walls because the dinner's getting cold and you've just spent so much time cooking it.
You're sorry, I'm trying to get my mouse connected in case I seem like I'm wanking myself off under the table. But
no one thought that.
Okay. Sorry.
Wait,
that's just how good the story was. What I was going to say is so you think that fuck their like need to use the facilities or anything?
No, you're already on their side. It's annoying. You're already over on their side. No, it's like it's not a signal. It's not a green light to go. You see me cooking the dinner, so like now is time to maybe prepare yourself.
They should be on the loo up until the point that you say din times.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a bit strange, but yeah, definitely. What's your pet peeve?
My pet peeve, it's probably Joe and Kat spit up their hairballs. We're home. Bang, bang, bang.
Sick.
There you
Absolutely
go.
sick.
There you go.
I've got another pet peeve.
Go on.
That's it.
Dennis's pet peeves. That's our new intro.
Another pet peeve. Categorizing everything. My other pet peeve, and this one really freaks me out. I hate this. Is when there's scaffolding on a sidewalk or footpath. Mm-hmm. And it's like on the building, and then you have to walk in between it and stuff. And then people are trying to like walk in between you or walk on the outside of it and stuff. Absolutely drives me insane.
That's a pet peeve of yours.
Yeah, scaffolding on buildings.
Have you got nothing better to do than like pick up these pet peeves? You are, well, as we covered in the last episode, or maybe not the last one, but the one before that. I don't sweat the small stuff.
No, you don't.
But
you
do. You pick up annoyances.
I pick them up. I mean, it's not a hobby, you know.
It kind of is, though, at this point.
It's just I come across a lot of annoyances.
Oh, is that it?
What did you do there just before the podcast came on there? Did you make me wait while you sucked off to Mr. Freeze?
Yeah, I did. In all... Okay, let's get this out in the open. Firstly, if you go on Discord, yeah. you can see my Mr. Freeze updates. You can see that in one sitting, I had I ate 16 Mr. Freezes.
Do you know what's so strange about this is the Mr. Freeze thing? If you go back and listen to the original like episodes, that was a big thing.
Yeah.
Right, which is approximately just over a year ago. Are your Mr. Freezes like coming in seasons or what?
Well, yeah, now is the time when they've just been picked and they've brought in. No, it's because I didn't have a freezer for so long. I didn't have a freezer, so the minute I got a freezer, you know, Mr. Freeze is coming. He's not far behind.
Mr. Freezer is gonna stick these in the fucking freezer.
I actually had a box of Mr. Freezes ready for when the first freezer came, but it was broken, so. I was devastated. I actually opened one or two of them and just sucked them down raw.
I was just wondering if you ever did that. Did you ever drink them?
Yeah, very rarely, but I will sometimes. Yeah.
What do they taste like?
Well, they taste like the Mr. Freeze except warm. Or room temperature, I guess. Room temperature.
Mr. Room Temperature.
It's not. Doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
What are we doing this week?
This week, Dennis, we're doing a bit of a different one. I'm all about treating myself at the moment. Right, I'm treating myself. I'm going up to Edinburgh soon. I will have been come and gone by the time this episode comes out. I'll
Yeah.
be back from Edinburgh. You'll be delighted to have me back. So I've decided to treat myself. Just in general, I treated myself to some waffles, some breakfast sweet waffles that I'm gonna have for breakfast tomorrow. Treated myself to a load of Mr. Freezes.
That's not a treat. That's a diet.
That's a requirement. That's in my my PT has given me those to eat.
If you were in like a DK Eyewitness book called Roger, like your diet would be like it has to be fed Mr. Freezes.
Oh, I think that the cross section of me would not be human inside. It would look very strange. But the other way I treated myself, Dennis, is I wanted to do a special, a bit of a special episode. I wanted to. We've had, what is it now? This might be episode 69. Wow. Or some in there and thereabouts.
Didn't we promise we'd do something for that?
The banana live stream, is that it? What we've done for that is that you're going to, on the Patreon, you're going to put up footage of me eating the Mr. Freezes from the start of this from the start of this video. No, maybe we did say we'd do something for 69, but I decided we're going to take a little a deviation from our usual format, and instead I was going to find something from the online community that I thought we both could get a bit of surprise and enjoyment from. And what I did is I went on old Reddit, if you're familiar with it.
Nice, goldmine,
and I found on a subreddit. Are you familiar with it, Dennis? It's called r/no sleep.
I've been in there before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you care to explain to the listener what r/no sleep is?
Well, spooky stories are presented to its readers, and then you don't get any sleep after reading them.
Exactly. Couldn't think of a better summation myself. So, while looking for a spooky story that I do, because it's coming up to the end of August as well, which is the spookiest time.
No, I'm not doing that. I still have the back to school feeling.
Oh, okay.
It kills me.
Okay.
I'm not doing it. Try on your uniform, Raj.
I never I'll be honest with you, I never looked good in my uniform.
I don't think anyone expected you to look good in your uniform.
No, I did, because I tried to jazz it up. I'd tie the front like Britney did. Do you know, I'd do like a crop. I'd like cut my school pants, but honestly, they didn't.
Oh, were you one of those guys who cut the school pants so they'd go over your runners like flares?
Of course I did. Yeah.
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 I didn't think you'd be one of those guys.
No, I used to do that, so I could run quicker. But here's what I learned as an adult: the wind resistance will get you. So
Flappage.
Yeah, but back anyway to r/no sleep. I found what somebody described as the single scariest story that they've ever found on r/no sleep, and this was upvoted so highly, and I think it's exactly the sort of thing that's going to just send chills in your arse. The title of it, Dennis, is just "I'm a search and rescue officer for the U.S. Forest Service, and I have some stories to tell."
I hate forests and woods. They're very scary.
You hate all forests.
Because I have something when I was a child happened, which I will explain later on when we get a little bit in.
Okay.
Forest. Very scary and unexplainable.
Okay. Well, in that case, I think before we kick on, I'll just say I haven't heard this story the whole way through, and Denis hasn't heard it. So it's for the first time, I think, on the podcast. We'll both be kind of discovering this as we go along. So on the back of that, let's crack on with the lamestream narrative. I honestly don't know how I'd forgotten this story, but it is by far the scariest thing that's happened to me. I guess maybe I've tried so long to forget about it that it didn't come to my mind right away. As someone who spends literally all their time in the woods, you don't ever want to let yourself get scared of being alone or out in the middle of nowhere. That's why, when you have experiences like this, you tend to just forget about them and move on. This, to date, the only thing that's ever made me really seriously consider if this job is the right one for me. So right up the front there, Dennis, he's really going to town on the spookiness of this.
I don't think you ever think about becoming a ranger in the woods and the forest and the fact that it's going to be really scary.
No. There was a lot of jobs that I reckon I could do, but I reckon I could do them, but I don't think about the fact that they have a night component.
Yes, 100%. I couldn't. One thing that would really scare me is locking up a school.
Okay.
I that would terrify me, especially kind of an old Irish school. Like the school I went to was like, you lock that up, you don't know what's lurking around there. Big brown doors and big weird stuff.
Did you have a weird janitor in your school?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. His name rhymed with rat, and he was called something the rat.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and it's kind of twofold, right? He did rat people out unnecessarily, but at the same time, he did rat people out really legitimately as well.
Okay.
So it's kind of a villain and a superhero. But he reportedly lived in the shed down near my school. But he categorically didn't live in that shed because he lived up near me. But
no, he lived in the shed.
But he lived in the shed.
That's really funny child stuff, child logic of just he's a freak, so he lives in a shed.
Yeah, and he wasn't like he's a normal man.
He's a normal man.
Before we move on, my chemistry teacher though, he actually did live in the car park, and definitely started living in the classroom. And the reason I found that out is because I accidentally rumbled it, because we were writing in the school magazine, and I noticed that he'd brought in like a kind of a toaster oven into the chemistry lab, and
right.
And then one time he turned up with like a full-on motor van outside, right? No, like my objective was not to, and also there was a rumor going around that he got divorced, right? So my objective was not to rat this man out or to like make his life any worse. But yeah, it turns out that I made a joke in like the school magazine that he was just slowly moving his house into the chemistry lab, and then after that came out, everything was gone.
Wow, that is. I would say the divorce was not so rumored.
No, probably not.
They confirmed at some point, I reckon. Sorry, is there an earthquake happening over there, Dennis?
Sorry,
your camera just went shit.
I just kicked my table.
I'd say probably the divorce was confirmed. Living in the chemistry room or at the car park, up in the air, I'd say. So to continue, I don't really like talking about it much, but I'll do my best. There's some grammatical errors in this, but they're just straight from the post. Okay, just in case you're wondering. But to be fair, some of the ones I write there are grammatical errors in as well. So I don't really like talking about it much, but I'll do the best I can to remember it all. As I recall, this took place right at the end of spring. It was a typical lost child call. A 4-year-old girl had wandered away from her family's campsite and had been missing for about 2 hours. Her parents were completely despondent and told us what most parents do. My kid would never wander away. She's so good about staying close. She's never done anything like this before. Were you a wanderer as a kid, Dennis?
Have we discussed getting lost on the podcast before as children? Or have we just talked about it? I can't really remember.
No, I don't think it's come up on the podcast.
Have you ever got lost?
Yeah, once, yeah.
What age were you?
I would say 15. No, I'd say, yeah. No, I got lost. I got lost recently, actually, in a forest.
But panic lost, like
no.
I'm in trouble.
The last time that happened, I'd say it was 4 or 5, and it was in the Super Value in Ballincollig, in the centre of Ballincollig, and my mom was doing the shopping. I was with my mom, lost my mom, went outside, and found my dad's car, and went into the car with my dad in it.
I went into the car with my dad in it.
Yeah. But at least I think he was my dad. But yeah, his parked car. But my mom went ape shit. My mom, well, obviously she was terrified. She thought she'd lost me, but she went ape shit.
Why is she going ape shit? She lost you.
Well, yeah. Actually, do you know what? I'll bring that up with her next time. Next time I see her.
I got lost in Killarney before, and it was just after we saw two dogs humping, and my mother said that they would die. I don't know if that was connected to me running off, but I got seriously lost. Like as in, I was a goner. I don't know how I got separated, but I remember the fear. And then, in typical me fashion, I was like, okay, I need to go where my mother could be, and I just started going into all the clothes shops around the place, crying. And then these two women inside one of the clothes shops just basically took me in as their son, and I worked there for 10 years.
Wow. That's where I met you, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, you got me out of there. You paid to free me.
I said, I'll take this one. He looks sturdy.
But my hands were scissors.
Yeah. You were talking about the dogs dying after they had sex. Your mom saying that to you.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure had no lasting effects on you. But I happened to be looking up today about the mating ritual of ants. Because they die after they mate. And I found some great phrases on the Wikipedia page. Right? This is the first one. The males have evolved for the single purpose of inseminating the queen. During the quick and violent mating, the male places his internal genitalia into the genital chamber of the queen and then quickly dies.
But what a life.
Well, yeah, what a life. Imagine that. Has sex with the queen, dies instantly. Then,
which when she was alive probably would be the outcome as well.
Yeah, true. Then here's the next one. Within a few days after they emerge from the pupa cases, males are quickly converted into single-purpose sexual missiles.
Wow, aren't we all?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a 4-year-old going missing. It's been reported to this ranger. Ranger's going out. He said it's rudimentary. It's a regular occurrence.
Run of the mill.
Run of the mill, and the kid's been missing for 2 hours.
Yeah. So to continue, we assured the parents that we'll do everything we can to find her, and we spread out in a standard search formation. What do you think that search formation is?
In a line.
Oh, in a line. Yeah. Oh, you're right. I've seen that in movies. I was partnered with my good buddies, and we were good. Thank God. I was partnered with my good buddies, and we were sort of casually holding conversation while we hiked. I know it sounds callous, but you do sort of become desensitized when you've done this long enough. It becomes the norm, and I think to a certain extent, you have to learn to desensitize yourself in order to work this job. We search for a good 2 hours, going well beyond where we think she'd be, and we come out on a small valley when something makes us both stop in unison. We freeze and look at each other, and there's almost a sensation like a plane depressurizing. My ears pop, and I have this odd sensation of having dropped about 10 feet. I start to ask my buddy if he felt that, but before I can, we hear the loudest sound I've ever heard in my life. It's almost like a freight train passing directly by us, but it's coming from every direction at once, including above and below us. This is getting intense now.
I have to back this up as well, right? And I think I've actually mentioned this in a podcast before, but that thing of the atmosphere changing and the hair on the back of their neck standing up and they feeling like it's being depressurized and stuff. People who were like in Humvees and stuff over in Iraq, they swore that when a rocket launcher or whatever was, or a bomb was about to explode, or like like what do I call them?
ID or something like that, or
yeah, what is it? Improvised explosive device. IED?
Oh yeah. An IED.
I got an IED before for not peeing after sex, but they swore that they'd feel it just for like an absolute split second, just in that moment of something was about to happen, or like that maybe it's the rocket flying through or the explosion's about to happen or just some sort of chemical change. So that freaks me out that they would get that sensation.
Do you think telepathy is real?
What actually is telepathy?
It's communicating like via your brain, I guess, non-verbal.
I think it's possible. Like it's possible, like to non-verbally communicate. I don't know. Is it possible to transfer thoughts?
I'm not talking about semaphore. Sorry, I didn't explain it very well. It's not like, oh my god,
Waving.
Yeah, you think sign language is telepathy?
No, but I think that like you can do stuff unintentionally with your face or whatever, or like this, the other person will pick up on the slightest thing. When you know someone's worried, but they're not trying to give it away. Or
yeah,
whatever. I think that's possible. Is it possible to think something? I mean, myself and my friend Ian, we used to do walking back from university, because we were doing nothing. Like we're going into town to get posters and DVDs because HMV was closing or something. And then we would go up, and what we do on the street is we would actually, the two of us would get the same thought, some crazy thought, right? We tell each other, and then we'd look at the person that we're passing out and try and pass that thought into their head.
Real?
Yeah. So like, let's say simply you'd be imagining murdering them, right?
Yeah.
That would be the simple one. So then you try as they're coming down, you say, okay, we're gonna actually imagine murdering this guy, right? It's two of us murdering, and like obviously, like at some point, whether we're convincing ourselves of it or not, but I suppose if you do imagine murdering some guy, like that, the guy will look and kind of go, oh, what the fuck is that?
That does sound, honestly, that kind of more makes you sound like a lunatic.
Oh, look, I was never going to come out right in that story.
Well, me and my friend, we used to just walk down and try and astrally project murder into people's brain. Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine.
But what I'm saying is, you're not listening.
Yeah, but I'm the weirdo. I'm the weird one on the podcast. Just because I suck off Mr. Freeze.
I totally just stay away from that guy. So yeah, I think it's possible, but it's not possible. Like you're not transferring thoughts. Do you think it's possible?
What do you think? I think
you want sweet waffles.
Shut up! Get out of my brain. I think I'm sympathetic to it.
All right, look, I'm going to do it right now. Okay, right? I'm going to look at you and I'm going to have a thought in my head.
But I don't know if it's like. I think you're outside a Wi-Fi connection. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe no one's done it before. Okay, look, I'm going to think of something and you go. Right.
Carrots.
Oranges. That was close. That's weird. What the hell is that about? That's fucking weird. I didn't expect that. That's really weird. Okay.
That is fucking odd.
All right, so you think there's some sort of telepathic being around here, is there?
Well, something has happened. They've heard so far anyway. They've heard a huge sound, and the thing that makes me like go about telepathy and think about in that direction is the idea that he said he felt like he dropped 10 feet, like he had. It's all about this feeling that's gone along with not just the sound. But he looks to his friend, right? And the friend, he screams something to me, but I can't hear him over this deafening roar. Understandably freaked out, we look all around us, trying to find the source of the sound, but neither of us sees anything. Of course, my first thought is a landslide, but we're not near any cliffs. And even if we were, it would have hit us by now. The sound goes on, and we're trying to yell at each other. But even standing close together, we can't hear anything but this sound. Then suddenly, as it starts, it stops, like someone threw a switch and cut it off. We stand there for a second, perfectly still, and slowly the normal sound of the woods comes back. He asked me what the fuck just happened.
Very creepy. I bet he didn't have an answer though.
No, that sounds like some Lost shit. to me.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's actually like a good version of Lost. The sensation of the noise and the kind of feeling being above and below them is very scary.
It's the idea of just something that, even just being in an actual earthquake,
Yeah.
like, like something real that we know, like, that's terrifying. Like the earth, like, you can't run and hide from it. It's the fucking earth. The earth is quaking. I also think it's very funny that despite the fact we nearly telepathically communicated, we'll consistently speak over each other or misread what we're doing on the podcast
All the time.
So maybe telepathy isn't a thing, but yeah, that so far, right, this could be enough for me. I know we're very different in this respect. The story could end here and I'd be like, fucking weird, creepy.
No, I think I'd be with you on saying it's creepy or weird, but I'd probably want a little bit more. I think it'd be a
Really?
bit selfish of this guy to write the post and go, anyway, I'm off. My dinner's ready.
You think that's sorry, my partner's really has a problem if I'm late for dinner,
Yeah.
so I have to leave mid story.
Which would be understandable, actually, to be honest.
Okay, I think this is creepy enough already, but we'll continue and we'll see where it goes.
Okay,
So-
Raj, before you carry on, right, I'm just putting this out there, right? If this ends in the Loch Ness Monster, right, if it ends in that joke, we're going to have words.
What do you mean?
If you say, and he comes down the hill after an hour of this, and
It's
the
a Loch Ness
goddamn
Monster.
Monster.
No, who do you think the buddy was? It was the Loch Ness Monster.
True. And a good
No.
there of homemade Lucasade Sport, I see.
yeah, a little bit of water used in my Lucasade Sport. Now, to Dennis, if this does end in a joke or in a prank, it's news to me. I haven't read the end of it. So
We actually could both be set up here, and you don't even know.
yeah, this could be the worst episode we ever do. So he asks me, "What the fuck just happened?" But I just kind of shrug, and we stand there looking at each other for a minute. I get on the radio and ask if anyone else just heard the end of the fucking world, but no one else hears it. And even though we're all within shouting distance of each other, my buddy and I just sort of shrug it off and keep going. After about an hour later, we all check up on the radios, and no one's found the little girl. Most of the time, we won't search when it gets dark, because we don't have any kind of lead on her, and a few of us decide to keep going, including me and my buddy. We keep close together, and we're calling out for her every couple of minutes. So that freaks me out already, just that they're continuing in the dark and just shouting at each other.
And that they're shouting at each other.
Hello.
No wonder they can't find her. Yeah, no, it's very scary. Again, like, young kids going missing is scary in themselves, because you automatically assume they're ghosts.
Yeah.
That is your first go-to. That kid is a ghost. Also, like, has it been taken by some, weird forest creature or some forest pedo? You don't really know, which is terrifying.
What's a forest pedo when they're at home? Are they what they sound like?
Yeah, pretty. Like, Ron Seal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's what it says on the tin.
I'm picturing like I don't know why, but I'm picturing something along the lines of a like a kind of a pedo, but more outdoorsy.
Yeah, like a pedo in a ghillie suit.
Yeah, or maybe like Bigfoot, if Bigfoot was a pedo.
Yeah, or like the Bigfoot costume, but just a human head. So I have that experience of this that I mentioned at the start, right? And this is completely and utterly true. Don't know what it was, but down in a place called Glenbeigh, right? I can name the place.
Yeah.
Right? Down in a place called Glenbeigh in County Kerry. There's a walk there on the side of the mountain. It's a lovely little walk, right? And it was like a tradition for my family when we would go there. This is like the place we'd go all the time, right? And it was tradition for our family to go on the walk on this mountain. It was one of the things to do, right? But after a while, that walk was called the Monster Walk, right? Now, it was not called a Monster Walk because it was a very long walk. It wasn't even a very long walk. But one day we were walking up that walk, and we heard these weird noises, and we looked up in the tree, and like I could draw them. We saw monsters' heads in the trees. That's the only thing we could describe it. Like, it was so scary, and they were up so far, and they weren't birds. It wasn't small enough to be a rodent because it was so far away. Like, it was huge. They were huge. There was like 3 of them.
Why do you just, like, despite poo-pooing everything that I ever bring up, that you fucking, like, you just have these bizarre fucking stories of just cryptids and shit?
I've pretty much seen a UFO as well outside my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really, really strange, and we stopped, and I legged it. Like, I legged it down the walk. Now, my dad is a very kind of practical man, so he would kind of say, like, well, you know, that can't be monsters, so it's not monsters. If you get, that's just kind of logic. But like, yeah, I'm looking at it going, and we were thinking, you know, we always talk about it, like we always go on a monster walk, and you get that feeling when you're turning, I know where the place is on the walk. Like, it's not even that far up. It's not that secluded or anything, but you are definitely away from everything.
Monster walk.
But when you go up to that point, like, it's so scary. But I still have no idea what it was. We were kind of theorizing. It's like, oh, we were literally saying, must be monkeys. Like, it has to be monkeys that like escaped from the zoo or something. But they'd have to get like a train ticket down from Cove. It was really, really weird. I don't know what it was.
What the? Yeah. So, that just is so annoying to me that all this stuff happens to you, and then you're just like, oh well, it's bullshit when it happens to somebody else.
Well, like, I think it's my dad's logic. Like, it can't be monsters, therefore it's not monsters.
So it's monkeys.
Yeah. Well, like, I'm telling you, it looked like 3 monkeys up on the tree, and the fact that they were together as well made it way scarier. Like, they were kind of either waiting for something to come along there or hiding from something.
Hey, I'm gonna send you a picture of what they look like in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. This admittedly isn't excellent podcasting.
For anyone at home, you can send us in a picture of these to unexplainedlegends@gmail.com, or whatever comes up in your head. While you're getting that as well, there was another thing my dad used to say to me as well, right? He used to say horses doovers, right?
Right.
Which is hors d'oeuvres.
Oh yes.
Right. Horses doovers, right? And he'd say the horses doovers are coming, right? Now, he thought this was a funny trick that like would get me to go to bed or whatever. I was imagining the most frightening monsters in the whole world, like terrifying monsters were going to fucking eat me, right? Like, I did not see it as a game, and he thought it was the funniest thing in the world because I would like run for my life until I actually drew, because they saw me one night and I was like really panicked, like I was really upset, and they got me to draw what I thought a horse's dover was, and it was terrifying, and he never did it after that.
Well, at least he stopped. So that's what I just sent you there.
Oh, what the fuck is that?
I pictured 3 of them in your fucking in your tree.
Roger, that's honestly close enough to what they were like. Like, so what he sent me, right, is like let's say a furry monkey kind of body, like very furry, very like almost fashionable monkey body, and then big weird hands.
Fashionable monkey body. You fucking
humanoid hands, and then this quite like ape-like but grey man kind of head. That is very like they were peering out like that. That's weird. How did you get that?
It's from something, but I don't want to tell you what it's from because in case you watch it, it'll be a spoiler.
Okay.
But yeah, I might drop in here from the probably won't. I say might drop something in here for the listeners saying what it was, but we'll see when I go to edit this. But yeah, so that's what I pictured. Very weird, very weird indeed. So next, Dennis, right? At this point, so to bring you up to speed again, what are they doing? They're searching in the dark. They don't usually do it, but they decided to make an exception this time. So at this point, I'm hoping beyond hope that we find her, because while I may not like kids, Well, kind of no need to bring that up, really.
Yeah, strange note.
Yeah, the bit suspicious note given.
Yeah, but I didn't kill her.
Yeah. Because while I may not like kids, the idea of them being out all alone in the dark is awful. The woods can be intimidating to kids in the daytime. At night, well, it's a whole different beast or monster. But we're not seeing any signs of her or getting any responses. And around midnight, we decide to turn back around and head back to the rendezvous point. We're about halfway when my buddy stops me, shines his light to the right of us into a really thick deadfall or group of dead trees. I ask him if he's heard a response, but he just tells me to be quiet a second and listen. I do, and in the distance I can hear what sounds like a kid crying.
Oh,
Are you losing it a bit, Dennis?
I'm getting in the car. The kid can defend itself. I'm gone.
Goodbye. We head in the direction of this deadfall and go around it, calling her name over and over. As we get closer to the crying, I start getting this weird feeling in my gut, and I tell my buddy that something isn't right. So this is kind of like what you were talking about again earlier, like you just kind of sense something's up.
I did it the other night when I was walking. Like I felt like there was something behind me. So I walked around. I went a different way. Like I listened to it. It's so strange when that happens, but I do believe that your body does pick up on that stuff.
The body holds the score. Have you ever keeps the score? Have you ever heard that book?
No, I actually haven't.
It's about trauma, actually. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but the idea that your body is connected to your mental processes.
Oh, I get what you mean. Like, as in, if you've been through traumatic events, it's like kind of keeping that on record, and it's kind of affecting you. Is it?
Yeah.
True.
So in this case, if you're intellectually thinking, or like telepathically even picking up that something's going on, maybe your body is like vibrating and being like, nope, get me out of here. He tells me he feels the same way. So he said to his buddy, something isn't right. He tells me he feels the same way, but we can't figure out what it is. We stop where we are and call the girl's name again. And at the same time, we both figure it out. The crying is on a loop. It's the same hitching sob, then wail, then quiet hiccup, repeated over and over. It's exactly the same every time. And without saying another word, we both take off running.
Oh, whoa. So it's like it's either something mimicking it, or it's like a trap, like something recording it, trying to lure them in.
I hadn't even thought about the mimicking.
The mimicking thing is the scariest part of it, to be honest.
That is fucking... Why did you say that?
Yeah.
That's really fucked me off.
See, do you think it's an alien, or do you think it's a beast?
I thought it was just like a murderer.
No, I think it's way more. I mean, the mimicry thing. For me, like, I mean, it could be a murderer trying to lure them in, but what would be the point in him trying to lure them in? He'd surely just be gone. Like he's into killing kids.
I don't know. Well, is he though, or does he just kill the kids to lure out the adults?
Potentially, yeah. I guess so.
It's the only time I've ever lost my composure like that. But something about it was so incredibly wrong, and neither of us wanted to stay out there anymore. When we got back to the rendezvous, we asked if anyone else had heard anything strange, but no one else knew what we were talking about. I know it sounds sort of anticlimactic, but that call fucked me up for a long time. As for the little girl, we never found a trace of her. We keep an eye out for her and all the other people who we've never found. But frankly, I doubt we'll ever find anything.
Oh, that's chilling. Absolutely chilling. I really, really was hoping that kid would be found now.
Look, there's a postscript here that said she was found and it was fine.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm so relieved.
Yeah. That is a bit of a downer, I guess.
Yeah, that is a downer. But
yeah.
It's the way it is.
No.
Wouldn't it be scary working in that? Like, how would you continue working there if a 2-year-old went missing? Or a 4-year-old or whatever age it was. Like, how would you continue working there? Like, as in, one, it's like, okay, either this kid was taken or it got lost. But either way, you're like, there's a good chance you're going to come across it at some point.
Yeah, like you assume you'll find something, wouldn't you?
Yeah, something leading you to believe that it's, like, as in, you just could find, a body or whatever, like.
Yeah,
like at some point.
It is weird. There's another. I'm just reading the rest of their post, and there is something here. There's something about things they've found. But honestly, for me personally, and for the podcast, it's a bit too gruesome, I think.
Too true crime. We're not true crime.
Yeah, we're not true crime. We're true conspiracies.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm just having a quick look to see if there's anything that we could maybe just top it out on,
Yeah, it's really, 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 really scary. Though it is terrifyingly scary. Imagine if we did true crime as well. God, it'd be a mess. I think we'd be closed down after about 6 episodes.
Well, I think a few people have mentioned to us the idea of having splitting one off and having a what do you call it, the having an explained legends.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you remember people mentioning that to us?
To be honest, right, I don't know what kind of correspondence you get. The correspondence I get is just crazy shit. That's what I get from people all the time, just sending me mad stuff. Never really any kind of like constructive or helpful suggestions. Just, have you seen this mad thing? And I'm like, I'm not the guy. You're meant to be sending it to the other guy.
Oh yeah, that is true. Actually, I don't get the weird stuff. Like I don't.
Weird stuff.
What?
I get the fucking weird.
Yeah,
stuff.
you do. It's like, hey, Dennis, have you heard of this? No. There's a man living on Saturn. And you're like, it's not me.
Let's sum this up though. So, what do you think it was?
So, personally, my theory was it was a murderer, and they were trying to lure them out.
But what explains the crying then?
A tape recorder.
Tape recorder just stuck to a tree, and you think their objective was to kill whoever was going to come near it?
Yeah, because I think if you're going out, think about it this way: if you're approaching that noise as a human, you're probably feeling kind of disarmed. Do you know?
Yeah,
like
I get that.
You're not on alert. You're oh no, baby.
I mean, there is another theory here as well, right? That the guys heard this cry, got freaked out, ran off, and then they never found the kid. And then they're like, ah, crap. Like, oh, that was a tape recorder, wasn't it? That was a tape recorder. They're like, yeah, definitely a tape recorder.
Definitely a tape recorder. No, Dennis, don't be so rude. Don't be so crazy with your silly ideas.
I think my theory is much better, that it was some sort of thing like a mimic of some description, some horrible, terrifying demon mimic.
That freaks me out. Like, I hate that. I really hate that.
I hate it as well.
Oh man, I really fucking hate that. I wish you'd never said that to me. I think in terms of these sorts of episodes, I think we'll pop them in every now and again. I reckon. I think they'd be a good change of pace. I mean,
look, I'm not like shooting down true crime, right? But my only issue with true crime is, one, there's a good chance I'll make fun of some murder victims, right? Which is probably going to happen.
Yeah.
2. How do people do true crime podcasts without just being horribly depressed?
What do you mean?
Well, like you're talking about, like probably families getting murdered and people getting murdered, and like they're real humans.
But you can just think. You can think. Oh, could be worse.
Could be me, I suppose.
Could be worse. As my dad always said, my dad's favourite phrase, whenever you'd go, oh, but what if this happens, what if that happens? He goes, listen, this time next year, we could all be dead.
He's saying it like he's going to get a holiday.
Yeah, he's hopeful. Most people would say that and they'd be like, you can't tell what's going to happen tomorrow. Whereas my dad, like, year to the day, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, he'd be
still
like,
here.
Don't be sad, we'll all be dead soon.
So, Dennis, before we close out, I want to say that this is let us know if you liked this type of episode, because it's a bit of a different one. I think I'd like to find more stuff like this, and this also, No Sleep has a lot of creepypastas. Are you familiar with them?
Yep. Where
creepypastas, if you're creepypastas, if you're not familiar with them, if you're not familiar with them, they're kind of like, they're modern day urban myths, but this, I thought this stood out to me because this is just a guy, like, if you read the post in total, it's probably something like 5,000 words long, more, and a lot of it is just the guy talking about the day to day and how horrible some aspects of the job are. So when I read this, like, just now, having like seen the rest of it, it just made me think, okay, this is so, it's so real. Like,
he's got too much information. Yeah,
it's too banal in places. Like, this is his day to day, But I might put together some creepypastas in the future, and we can maybe have a bit of a fun episode of, like, how does this seem realistic, or is it just total nonsense?
Oh, you know what we're going to do actually in the Den Files, right? We're going to pop into the Den Files after this episode on Patreon, right? Thanks for supporting us on Patreon, right? New content there every week. But I'm going to do the Bobbit worm. Do you know the Bobbit worm? This is... It's not actually it's not an urban legend. It's a true story, but it's about a guy and his fish tank, and his fish keep disappearing. It's terrifying, and it's true, and it's updated live, like, on an old forum. So, like, this guy is updating what's happening, taking pictures and stuff. It's brilliant. I'll do it on the Den Files.
I'm not familiar with that.
On the back of that, I think that does it for this week's episode. I've been Denis Len. You can find me Denis Len 3D on all the places, and over there is
Roger O'Sullivan. You can find me at Roger O'Comedy on Instagram, or at Roger O'Sullivan on Twitter, and you can actually Edinburgh's over by now, so
it is.
Who cares?
Yeah, I guess if you want to get some new extra content and support the podcast, sign up to Patreon and follow us over to the Den Files. Other than that, loads of actually more reviews and stuff coming in as well, which is nice.
Oh, and if you have creepy stories, we'll do another listener special soon.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah. So if you can send in your creepy stories or your little mysteries as well, we'd love to hear them. So on the back of that, love you. Bye.